Okay, we're talking about movies of 2019 and shows, right?
No, just movies. Fuck. Then we'll do shows in the next one.
How many podcasts are we doing? Find out in 2020. Okay.
Okay, first one. Let's go with. Let's talk about Endgame.
Oh, that came out this year. Holy
right?
Shit.
There's so many movies that came out this year that don't feel like they came out this year.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think? I liked Endgame.
It's a very good movie.
I like Infinity War better.
I think I like Endgame more.
Endgame was really good though. It tried to like tie up all the things, even if it wasn't like it didn't make sense plot wise. Like it felt like a good end. You know, like it actually hit me harder than I thought. Like after them, because I thought I didn't really care that much about.
I think I told you I like teared up, and you're like, really?
Yeah, like at first when I watched it, I'm like, yeah, like this is just. Yeah. I thought like I think of a lot of these MCU movies as kind of popcorn flicks. Which
I totally agree. They are like. Scorsese said they're like theme park movies, and I kind of understand what he means.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally just for the ride.
Yeah.
I still think there's, like, emotional, like...
Yeah, of course.
Things that are emotional.
But I just didn't think I was invested as much. I kind of like how I mentioned before how I'm not invested in Game of Thrones anymore at all. Like, I'll watch it, but I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
And same thing with, like, MCU stuff is usually I don't care that much.
At this point, I don't give a shit about MCU either.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even see the last Spider-Man. But no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But after, like, after spoilers... Okay, well, should I spoil? Yes.
The trailers spoiled Endgame, too.
Well, someone dies... But anyway,
no, they spoiled that in the trailer. I kid you not, they do this.
Okay, but anyway, I don't know. I felt or even just the way, like the fact that that this was the last one. Even that was kind of like after sitting on it after like a while, a couple days, you're kind of like, wow, that's kind of. I don't want to say sad, but it's like, wow, I guess that was it. That was the end of an era. Like, all these and they pulled out like a lot of like the biggest superheroes they could.
Yeah, they did.
So
I love the time travel stuff, even though like obviously it doesn't like entirely make sense. At the same time, I go like it's a fucking comic book movie. Like I'm in. Yeah. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Just show me it.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic. I like that they got rid of Thanos right away, and then it's like, oh, but the past or the other timeline Thanos or whatever.
So like I guess part of the reason why I liked Infinity War more is just because I know like I a lot of people would probably prefer Endgame this way, but the first half is kind of slow.
I agree.
There's not as many fights. I like Infinity War just because every like 2 minutes there's fights, and I know that might not make for a very like clean story necessarily, because I know a lot of people complain about like Infinity War, their story not being super coherent or that like paced or whatever, but I just like the fights every 2 minutes because that's kind of why I watch these movies.
It's weird that you say that because I felt like Infinity War had a more solid story structure than Endgame in a way.
Okay, I don't know,
but
that's just what I hear.
Endgame to me, like I love that, like how the characters like react to it, like them having to adjust to like half the world being gone, blah blah blah, half of life.
Yeah.
I thought Thor was really funny in this one.
He was, yeah.
I love the Cap and Tony Stark, like having to kind of like rekindle that friendship.
Yeah.
I was a sucker for that shit.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be like, holy fuck, like when Cap's like, Avengers, and he says, assemble. And then there's like literally every fucking superhero going. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
That was so cool, and him getting the hammer finally and stuff. So it was like fan service up the yin yang. I loved it.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. Everyone's talked about Endgame.
Yeah.
Let's go on. Let's talk about some other shit.
We'll talk about Joker.
Joker was a really good movie.
It's just because like if you watch the trailer and you know what the movie's gonna be, and you're ready for it. I think like Joker is a very good movie, but I just know like for the casual viewer that wasn't ready for what Joker was gonna be and thought it was gonna be
more like a Batman movie.
Yeah, more like a Batman movie or more like a classic kind of like not popcorn, but just more like it's probably just Joker like messing up Gotham, like just Joker doing crazy stuff. It's not that.
It was like a character study. Right? It was like Taxi Driver,
It's an origin story, kind of.
It is. And it's... In many ways, you sympathize with him. And in many ways, you're kind of like, this guy very fucked up.
Yeah.
But,
it was sort of controversial, obviously.
It's cool to see that dissent. A lot of the, like... a lot of the discourse about that movie before it came out, like it was from like people who clearly didn't see the movie yet, but they're like, oh, this movie encourages like bad shit, like this is not cool, and it's like when you actually watch the movie, it's like it didn't do any of this stuff like that you're saying, like it encourages violence and all this shit. Like,
well, I remember there's one
violent, but
I remember there's one thing they were saying they had to tell people not to wear masks or something when they come to watch, like clown masks when they come to watch the movie.
Well, that's because that theater that got shot up. But
yeah, but I know that you can. It's hard to like see where the influences of things come from, so I can see how people get very touchy around this type of movie because it's very like. It tugs at these very deep emotions, the darkest sides of humanity.
Exactly.
Right? But Joker is, if you're into that stuff, like very deep, heavy type of stuff, Joker is worth watching. Obviously, I think. And just like one last note is that I think it's interesting that I don't know if they would allow or this movie would be as well accepted or received if it wasn't under Joker.
I agree.
Right, because it's but.
Having those ties to Gotham and Batman,
and the comic book universe kind of
makes it a little bit okay, more acceptable. And even the director said he couldn't get this kind of movie funded unless he did tie it to this stuff. So, who knows? Maybe it wouldn't be as well received. But it kind of this movie made me kind of anxious. But,
of course, yeah.
But it did its job. Like, if a movie can make you feel a certain way like that strongly, then I think it did a decent job.
The way it wants you to feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like this movie sucks.
Yeah. The worst thing a movie could do is be like, meh.
Yeah. Toy Story 4 came out this year also. I don't know, did you watch that one? I
never watched that one.
So that one was pretty good. It was better than I expected.
That's generally what I hear.
Yeah, it wasn't like my favorite Toy Story, I don't think. But I like the direction they took because they kind of went, not like super unexpected, but like more, it wasn't just more of the same, like, oh, he's gonna find another kid, you know what I mean, because that's what you think is probably gonna happen, but like that doesn't happen, so I'm not gonna tell you what happens.
Did it justify its existence? Because I think so,
I think so,
because I thought the third one was like, this is a decent ending,
good ending,
this,
right? But this one, so it's kind of like, Woody's trying to find his place out. He doesn't like, kind of like, not necessarily being a kid's toy, and like, where's his place now, like what is he gonna do?
Interesting.
Because it's kind of like it starts off with him being not the favorite toy anymore, and so him making a decision like what does he want to do with his life. Funny, he's a toy, but it fits, right? Like it's a good analogy for people that are kind of like lost in like what they want to do, and it tries to provide some sort of answer to that, which I think is good. So it does justify the movie. I think it's good.
I think that's the best thing that the best Pixar movies are the ones that have this really good underlying message. Unlike sorry, I can't talk today. Unlike Finding Dory, I feel like there wasn't a very good message.
I didn't watch that one.
It just kind of, there wasn't enough of a good message for it to justify for me. Whereas you see WALL-E, it's like kind of like, oh, capitalism at its extreme. This is where it leads. And, I don't know.
Far From Home, Spider-Man.
I never watched that one.
You didn't watch that one?
I heard a lot of good things. I never went to the theater to watch it.
A lot of people are saying it's like it's like a really good, just like Spider-Man movie. Like it's really good, like just like a superhero movie. Like overall, it's like really just well done.
That's good to hear.
I thought again I don't know if that's just me, but I did see it. Like it does kind of what most other superhero movies do, but again, like people said, it is a really well done version of that. Right? Like obviously, he's really good. Like it's really awesome, and then some shit happens, and then you come back and then you win. Kind of, like that's the general arc. Is like, oh, really awesome, and then you get shit kicked, and then awesome again, and then it ends. Right?
I got kind of an unpopular opinion, but I'm getting kind of tired of the twerpy Spider-Man. I kind of want a like the comic Spider-Man more, but that's like a stupid.
That's your personal
opinion, I guess.
But yeah, I don't know if you like Spider-Man, and I also like he's dealing with losing Tony and stuff. Which I know, again, spoilers, but that part was really
also
good.
In the trailer.
Yeah, also in the trailer. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you like Spider-Man, obviously check that one out.
Yeah, for sure. I need to check it out.
Detective Pikachu.
I surprisingly really liked that movie.
Really?
You didn't like it? Huh?
I did like it. The one part was that I didn't like, which I know like I should let
There's
it
some
go.
Parts I didn't like.
Obviously, there's lots of parts people didn't like about that movie. Yeah. But I guess it's the way, at the end, like I guess the explanation for the logic of how things work is like the smoke turned them into Pokemon,
and
then the way and just the logic of that stuff I didn't really like. But everything else I thought was actually pretty good.
Okay, I agree with that.
Like the writing on the logic of how that world worked was a little bit weird.
Yeah, a little bit. But the fact that
they pulled it off.
It was true to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like they didn't change any of the Pokemon to be a certain way for the movie. You know, like they were actual Pokemon, you know?
Well, one thing was, I thought Charizard was going to be more of like a lizard and he wasn't going to be furry, I think.
Was he furry?
I can't remember. I remember I was either
he was furry.
It was either the trailer, one of them, maybe the trailer he was furry and they fixed it by the final film. I forgot. I just remember in one of the versions, either the trailer or not, it was like he had fur if he was like really close up and I was like, that's not, he's a lizard.
Really?
Like he's a dragon lizard.
Yeah, I forget which Pokemon I saw because I saw that and I was like, that... I don't remember what Pokemon, but I was like, why is it furry? Same thing. I thought it was
a tough one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend. I would be like, go watch that movie. But it's significant in like they actually made a movie that was like that, a live action Pokemon movie. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I enjoyed it. I think for what it was pretty good. I went in with very low expectations.
Same, yeah.
There's
a bunch other on this list, but I feel like these ones that I didn't see might be more significant. Did you watch any of these? So I'm looking at Ford versus Ferrari.
I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
What do you think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
The movie, like, the arc of it, it's really weird. Like, once again, it's like Kojima, you know, it's like, you gotta really know that director, like Tarantino. It's fun to hang out with these characters for 3 hours, and I never felt like it was 3 hours, which was good. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, whoa, what is this story arc? Like, it's kind of like you just see their daily life almost in a way, and they're just kind of like these two friends, but I don't even know how to explain this movie. It's satisfying in a weird way to just see these guys hang out back in the day in Hollywood.
Okay.
And there's kind of dirtbags in a way, kind of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I enjoyed it.
I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. Like,
really?
Rotten Tomatoes gives it really high rating.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they're obviously film Hollywood, that's their jam, right?
Yeah,
Rotten Tomatoes, they review movies. Mm-hmm. But, you know, like from the few people that have watched it, they're like, it's not, they didn't enjoy it.
The thing about Tarantino is if you don't like weird dialogue, like conversations, like long conversations, then you're not going to like the movie. Mm-hmm. It's not like anything action oriented. It's kind of like these two guys like having stupid conversations, which has always been like Tarantino's style, like Pulp Fiction, where they're just talking about like what you call a quarter pounder with cheese in like Montreal or something.
Yeah,
like,
Pulp Fiction type stuff.
Exactly. It's just like that's always Tarantino, just long conversations that kind of draw you in. That's a lot what this movie is, because like where the movie ends, you don't suspect it dealing with that shit from the beginning, kind of, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Did you watch Star Wars yet?
Rise of...
Yeah, the new one.
I did.
Oh, you did? What did you think of Star Wars?
Man, everybody has a fucking opinion on Star Wars.
Well, here's our podcast.
Here's our podcast. Here's my opinion.
I didn't watch it, so I have no opinions.
There was a lot of retconning of The Last Jedi. I didn't like The Last Jedi. I keep seeing fucking articles about that Rose character. She's barely in it. Like, I've never seen someone sideline a character more than this. She's just kind of like, it's like they friend zoned her, like, honestly. But a lot of shit happens off screen, but for me it was kind of like, you know what, give me the fan service. This is the ultimate Star Wars fan film. That's the way I can describe it.
That's funny because I look at Star Wars like sorry to all the hard diehards out there, but like I look at Star Wars kind of like the MCU is like popcorn. Like I don't take a lot of the decisions that seriously.
There is literally a scene that is like Endgame.
Oh yeah,
I kid you not. I'm like, yo, why is this?
I love that.
Why is this fucking Endgame? But at the same time, I was also like, give me it. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Star Wars to me, the originals exist. And a lot of people treat it like, hey, now these other ones come out and that ruins Star Wars for me. No, I still have the originals. I still love the originals. The rest of it can be shitty, whatever. But I thought this movie was fun. There's a lot of flaws in it. I totally understand. But overall, I was like, I was happy with it overall.
Interesting.
I actually was happy with it. I know the news keeps fucking bashing it like crazy, but I thought overall, I was like, okay, this is a good fan film. Like, it hit all the notes I needed it to hit. It added the elements I wanted from the other movies, so I was cool with it. There's some weird choices. Like, there's literally, like, plot lines that are set up to, like, continue that just don't.
Okay.
It's kind of like, well, what if we do go on that adventure? And it's like, nothing's ever going to happen. This is the end of the movie. Why did you just say that? It's like, yeah, let's go answer that question. That's not going to get answered. A lot of parts also felt like a 13-year-old kind of was like describing the ultimate Star Wars fan like film for them, you know, like, and what if like lightning comes out of her hands and then they're like fighting like with a double-edged lightsaber. It's just like the way some of these scenes happen. I was like, this is like a 13-year-old like dreamt this, but it was fun. I liked it. There's a lot of good callbacks, so I was happy. I don't know. I don't expect too much from Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
Mandalorian though, really good show.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Into the third segment.
The show.
Sorry,
is there any other movies? I saw Frozen 2 also.
You saw Frozen 2? Okay, so we're gonna talk about Frozen 2. I didn't watch Frozen 2.
I'll make this quick. I don't really care that much about that movie, like the series.
I heard it was more mature than the first.
It was more mature. There's some really funny bits. Overall, though, I felt like I was like, what? Once again, I was kind of like, where's the story arc here? It felt very fast. Like, not a lot happened. They're kind of in the same area for a very long time. And I don't know. I don't care that much about these characters enough. So I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Just do your thing. But also, there's just kind of things it's like, oh, so that character can do that now? All right. Which is just like Star Wars. Like, all right, I guess they can just do this with the Force now. So the Frozen is the same way. It's like, all right, her ice powers can travel across the fucking valley and, reach that person. Okay.
I saw in the trailer she's practicing. She's trying to get better at it.
Yeah, the waves thing.
Then that's maybe she trained hard enough that she can. Her ice powers improved. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I don't know. It was okay. I enjoyed it.
And then early in the year, January, did you watch Alita: Battle Angel with us?
I watched it with you.
You watched it with us?
It was you and Hannah and I.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was three of us.
I forgot.
I hope that movie gets a sequel. I know it did pretty...
It probably won't. There's a very low chance it will.
In terms of anime adaptations, I thought it did I can't talk. It did a decent job. There was some major melodrama in that movie with the her and the guy.
It's not by traditional conventions of just like as a movie. Yeah, it's not the best. No. But sometimes with you kind of have to understand the anime world where it's kind of like sometimes that you can just being able to see it in live action is really cool. Just because you've read the manga or whatever, and now it's a full live action movie. Is just kind of like a celebration of that manga or the source material
to justify her giant eyes and. Yeah. It's fun to see Christoph Waltz with the giant fucking pickaxe, Yeah.
But I would definitely say it's hard to make it fit into a traditional good movie convention. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because again, understanding anime, sometimes they just do that. They'll just make a film that's a celebration of the source material, but it's hard to make that film also good as a film. Yeah. Right? But it was really good in that sense, from a traditional anime sense of celebrating the source material. For sure, yeah. And turning it into a live action movie. So I enjoyed it in that sense, but obviously as a movie I enjoyed it less because it doesn't, for me, it's kind of there's just it feels like you just read a bunch of chapters, and very kind of not super well paced. And then it tries to throw in a little bit of an end because it's an end of a movie kind of, but you can tell it's closer to it's just the end of a chapter and there's going to be more going on.
I have to agree with that part. That world was really cool. Yeah. I'll say that. They did develop this super anime. Pretty cool world. Yeah, super anime. Yeah. The villains too, the CG was pretty good considering CG could be pretty bad. So that was pretty cool, and the villains were pretty unique. They're all mechanical and shit. So yeah, for the most part I enjoy it. I do hope it gets a sequel. I would watch it. But it probably won't. Probably won't. No, it did that bad.
That's what I
think I read something
relative to how much they put into it.
Shit.
Yeah, but and then I guess we can finish off with the Lion King and Aladdin live action.
I didn't watch either.
You didn't watch either of them?
I fucking hate these things. Okay. I'm not on board with it. But yeah, what did you watch it?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the one hand, I understand where you come from, and I'm sometimes of that mindset as well. It's kind of there's something when you watch the old school animated when it first came out, the original Aladdin, the original Lion King, and it just the way it's animated. You and I love 2D animation, fully drawn, exactly. All that stuff. But when you translate it into live action, there's a lot of it you lose, for sure, in my opinion. And a lot of people would say it's just different, you could argue. They just be, it's just different. which it is, but if you're making it based off of a source material that is 2D, then I would argue that sometimes you do obviously lose things. So, for example, like with Aladdin, like Abu the monkey is not as nearly as animated because he's a real monkey and he can't be as animated. They could have made it more animated, but they chose to draw the line at he's like closer to a real monkey.
Yeah.
Same thing with Iago or whatever his name is, the parrot. The parrot's like really talkative in the cartoon.
The original, yeah.
Yeah, but then in the film, in the live action film, he's not.
It's Gilbert Godfrey too.
Yeah, like he's not really that talkative, like in the same way.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, and one thing that Brad mentioned is that Jafar is not the same in that, like, in the cartoon, Jafar's like very conniving and kind of
like older guy, yeah.
And he's got this character to him. He's a very full character, like, I'm manipulative, but I'm very smart and clever, right? And he's got this air about him. But then in the live action film, he's kind of just a dick. Like, he's just very simple, like one dimensional. Like just kind of he's kind of a dick. Which I don't know if I agree with, but like I can see where he's coming from. Like I for the most part I agree in general, but. Again, like, just going from 2D where there's just so much, like, I just have this argument, like, where I think 2D animation, like, the more obscure from reality you get, like, the more expressive you can be, obviously, because when you're in live action, you're bound by the rules of reality. So, like, the real life monkey is not nearly as animated as a 2D cartoon monkey, because the 2D cartoon monkey is your imagination.
Big expressions and all
right? Like, you can draw his face however you want it to be.
Yeah.
But in real life, you can't.
It's hard to
you can't manipulate his face, right?
I like that we were talking about Alita Battle Angel being like very like drawing a lot from the animation, and then now this one's like, no, it's too.
But it's because it fits in that. Yeah, like I think
it is contextual.
That. This is actually a good example, like to compare the two. Is like Alita. I think they tried, and I haven't read the source material, but it's nice when they try to like really emulate the source material and try to make it make sense. And it's like if the original creator could work on it, but when it comes to Lion King, that's even more so for me. Where like. We're talking about lions being kind of personified and like more, animated as people. But then when it comes to live action, like it didn't. There's some parts where like it just doesn't work for me. Where I'm like a little bit like not super bad, like not really bad, but like it's like a real lion is like singing, and it's just kind of weird. Because it's like a real lion.
I haven't watched either of those, but I was more on board to watch Aladdin than I was Lion King, because like at least I'm watching people. Like
the only reason I watched the Lion King one is because it's like I'm curious, because it's like how how am I wasn't sure how I'm gonna feel when I see a real lion like singing. You know what I mean? Whereas like when I see the cartoon, it just makes, because it's like a cartoon, you're like the bounds of your accepting like what's going on is wide. You're just like just a cartoon. He looks kind of like a human. He's talking. It's animated. Whatever. You kind of let it go. But when it's like a real, because I'm used to, it's like watching Discovery Channel and then they just broke out in song, and then you're like, it's kind of weird.
Exactly.
It doesn't really fit.
I'm like these fucking lions can't emote at all. Like
like they're
not
trying
interested in it. Like
it's kind of weird. But I'll be honest. Like I actually enjoyed both of them more than I thought I would. But it's because my expectations were very very low. Because like you're never gonna recreate the original. I don't. That's
my main problem with these movies is like everyone goes, oh they're okay, they're pretty good, but they're not better than the original. I'm like, well, why am I gonna go to the theaters and watch it then? I don't know. I don't want to waste money if I'm just gonna be like, I should have watched the original.
Well, the only reason why I wouldn't where I would like side with you there is because I don't want to just feed into there. Like they're making it because they know they're gonna make money.
It's a problem too. I don't want to give them money, so
that's
I keep
why,
doing
right?
it. Also,
like that's why I wouldn't want to.
I don't know if I thought. I don't. Oh, actually, I'll name one that I think improved upon the source material, which was Dumbo. And that one movie,
really?
That movie didn't do that well. Because the movie, like the original movie, is done in the first like half an hour. And then after that is just continuation.
Oh, I didn't
So I was like, okay, this is like a new movie. Like, you know. So I was like, this is actually cool. I really enjoyed that movie, actually. Dumbo was actually fun. But also, Dumbo's not talking. Dumbo didn't talk in the original either. So I was like, I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
It's mainly the people that run the show, and the Dumbo's like the, plot element.
Right.
Whereas, like, I have to watch a fucking real life toucan tried to emote and talk to me for 2 hours.
It wasn't that bad, but it's just that, like, you know,
I know, yeah.
I feel a certain way about it. But
yeah.
What do you think? What's your favorite movie you watched this year that came out this year?
Ooh. It might be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Wow, interesting.
Maybe there's so many movies I'm not thinking about that were. Can I see this list real quick?
Yeah, I probably missed a bunch because I didn't watch that many movies this year. I don't know if
I would give it to that one. I think
I'd probably go because I feel like one, I didn't watch that many movies, and there weren't too many movies that stuck out a lot for me. Obviously, again, because I didn't watch too many, but I'd probably go with Endgame.
Oh yeah, Endgame.
Probably Endgame. I think.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Endgame.
A movie that I don't think either of us have watched is Parasite.
Oh, I heard about that.
I really want to watch that movie. It's got like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
And it's on like the top of a lot of people's lists. So that's a movie we probably should watch and maybe talk about later. But yeah. Endgame. I think I might still give it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it's just so fun to like hang out with those characters. But
that's impressive.
Endgame though is like, I don't know. For one thing is like a cinema movie to me. You know, it's like I can dissect it and stuff, and the other is like this is like the culmination of 10 years of fucking theme park awesome movies I'm so excited for. So I don't know. I mean, okay, maybe Endgame. Fuck. It's so fun to see, and it brought tears to me in my eyes, man. So
just some of the parts of that movie, like it just because you've been with these characters for so long.
Yeah, I know.
And then just like remember when he first comes in, like they rescue Tony at the beginning. And
yes.
And then he's like, I lost the kid, and then Steve's like, Tony, we lost the kid.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
Right? Oh, it's so good. And then I don't know, Tony
just
like
the moments that fulfilled my like inner nerd too.
Yeah.
I just was like, holy shit, you know, like him having Captain having the hammer. I'm like, oh my god. Like,
yeah, that was awesome. Like fanfare. Yeah, I don't like with those movies. I'm okay with the fanfare.
That fan service. Yeah. You need some of that. They've been building up to it for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's movies I'm not thinking about from this year that I really liked. Like I just watched Marriage Story. That was a pretty good movie, but that's not like my favorite movie. But I was like, it was a well-made movie that makes you think. But you know, I'm still gonna choose like the popcorn movie probably.
Okay, well we will. Next segment, we're gonna talk about TV shows.
We got a lot to say about that,
right? But
there's a full list of shows you haven't watched, and I've seen all of them.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that one will be a little longer. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Catch you guys in the next segment. End of the year podcast.
Yes.
Kurt and Zach.
What are your favorite movies? Let us know in the comments.